Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are going to be discussing some Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 3 Part 2 news in the form of a list of the amount of voice lines each character will have. We saw something similar for Season 3 Part 1, and also we are going to be once again reassessing the episode descriptions for the Part 2 episodes that recently appeared online. A lot of this we have talked about in previous videos, but now we are expanding on that now that Season 3 Part 1 is over and we have more time to talk about this stuff. I will say though, before we get started, this video will contain spoilers for Dragons Rising Season 3 Part 1, so if you've not yet seen Season 3 Part 1, you might want to check that out before you check out this video. You have been warned, spoilers are ahead. So like I said, we do have a lot more time now to talk about Season 3 Part 2 stuff, and like was the case with Season 3 Part 1, we now have a list of voice lines for certain characters, or at least the amount of voice lines the characters will have. Now for a few disclaimers, this is just Part 1. We have a few more lists as well that we will talk about here momentarily, stay tuned. And also this is just for episodes 11 through 14, not the entirety of Season 3 Part 2, just the first few episodes, and also of course take this information with a very heavy grain of salt as always. While the list of voice lines for Part 1 was fairly accurate, again we are still a ways out from seeing Part 2, so take this with a grain of salt like I said. But as you can see in the first few episodes, we have Jay at the very top of the lineup with 150 voice lines. We talked about that in its own separate video. It seems like Part 2 will have a lot more Jay, a lot more than what a lot of other traditional Ninjago seasons have been giving us as of late. And it's a pretty big margin between Jay and the second most common hero character, that of course being Eren, with 86 lines. I will say in the case of Eren, Lloyd, Nia, Lord Ras, and Sora, again, they've been mainstays of Dragons Rising for a while. Them having a lot of voice lines makes a fair bit of sense. Wildfire has 49 voice lines in the first few episodes. That makes sense as well. But now we see Cole has 24 voice lines, a big step up over his 10 from last part. Not to mention, this is only the first few episodes, so it seems like Cole will come back to having at least some type of substantial role in Season 3 Part 2 after basically being written out of the storyline in Part 1. Unfortunately, in the case of other ninja, it kind of seems like they are being cycled out instead. Kai only has 14 voice lines, not too far off from Cole, and again, this is only the first few episodes, so maybe Kai will have a lot more to say later on in Part 2, but in the case of Zane, Frack, and Pixel, yeah, 4, 3, and 1. Now, I will say, in Season 3 Part 1, Zane and Pixel did mention how they wanted to take a little break and explore the merged lands, so maybe that's what's going to be happening in Season 3 Part 2, considering they have 4 lines and 1 line respectively. Yeah, I don't think Zane and Pixel are going to be in Part 2 a lot. In the case of Frack, I don't know why he has such few lines. Oh well. There's always more opportunities for Frack to talk later on. Now we do have Egalt and Rontu back again as well, each with 22 lines. Makes sense there, especially considering that Rontu will have a set coming out in the summertime, pretty much corresponding with Season 3 Part 2, so obviously Rontu being here would make a ton of sense. Then we have Gandalaria with 41 lines, so it sounds like Gandalaria will be back, which I think is pretty good news because I like that character, but I know a lot of folks are very mixed on her, so sound off in the comments, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Then we have Geo with only 3 lines. Yeah, would love to see Geo get more lines, but it is what it is. Then we have this list, which is the last of the voice lines lists that we have here. We have Lee with 99 lines, so quite a few lines from this mysterious Lee character. Now, we do know the Realm of Lee is a thing. We've been talking about that since Dragons Rising Season 1. Whoever this Lee is kind of sounds like he's going to be a pretty main character in Season 3 Part 2. Curious to see if he's going to be a villain or some type of new hero character. Who knows, but either way, Lee is here with 99 lines. Knuckle and Cruncha each have 4 lines. We know that these two are coming back thanks to the one image that we have of part 2 so far. Thunderfang is here with only 1 line. Now again, this is only the first few episodes. There are many opportunities later for Thunderfang to talk. Kinda hope he does, considering that I am expecting Thunderfang to have a very big role in part 2. I was hoping he would be the main villain. Then we have some Source Dragons, motion, strength, focus, and energy. All have various lines here. I imagine these are going to be the symbols talking to Lloyd. I will say focus is a pretty big deal because, again, that not only doubles down on the idea that the white Source Dragon symbol is the Source Dragon of focus, but we also are hearing this symbol talk for the first time. I've been theorizing that this Source Dragon of focus and the Arc Dragon of focus could be one and the same. Maybe the Arc Dragon got promoted after defeating Thunderfang, became the Source Dragon of focus, but that's pretty much it for the voice lines. Like I said, take that with a grain of salt. However, the first list was fairly accurate. Not entirely accurate, but pretty close. So I imagine these lists are going to be, again, somewhat accurate with a couple of changes here and there. We are still a ways away from Season 3 Part 2. Now, before we end off today's video, I would like to once again reassess these episode descriptions brought to us by Rotten Tomatoes, because all things considered, they are looking more and more real as time goes on here. I was very skeptical about these, and I still am. I don't think we can 100% confirm that these are real, but they are looking more likely. So Season 3, Episode 11, The Hollow Ones, talks about how Ras, Aaron, and Sora are venturing into Mysterium. So again, we have Gandalaria coming back. Makes sense there. Episode 12, Human Resources, talks more about Mysterium and the Sorceress, so Gandalaria, and Jay leads the ninja to the administration on their way to Lee. So it kind of sounds like the realm of Lee will be addressed, actually. That does correspond with our voice lines list. Episode 13, again, talks more about the strange land of Lee, and also talks more about Ryu training under Rontu. So again, that explains where Egalt and Rontu come into play here. And again, that episode is called Between You and Lee. Episode 14 is called Casket of Bones, and it's all about the underworld, so Cruncha and Knuckle, all of that good stuff. Then we have episode 15, Screaming Earth. Now again, this is outside of the voice lines list that we had. This episode is all about Cole, Frack, and Kai, so it kind of sounds like this trio, if you will be venturing off on their own in part 2. Could explain why they have so few voice lines in the first couple of episodes, but this episode is where I imagine things will be picking up. Maybe this episode will finally reveal what exactly Cole's journey was all about in Season 1, with the Earth screaming. Episode 16, Under the Light of a Mechanical Moon, more Realm of Lee stuff. Again, very vague episode description aside from that. Episode 17, Vault of Focus. In the City of Temples, the ninja find guidance from an unlikely source. Meanwhile, Cole, Kai, and Frack again continue their journey as well. So again, excited to see that trio. Episode 18, For Whom the Bells Toll. More stuff about the Arc Dragon of Focus. I imagine if the Arc Dragon of Focus and the Source Dragon of Focus are the same character, the same dragon, maybe that will be a mystery that will be unveiled once the ninja finally summon the Arc Dragon. Episode 19, When Doves Cry, talks about the Spectral Lands, so there we go, tying into the end of Season 3 Part 1 with Thunderfang taking over. Again, all of the Thunderfang stuff might happen later in the season. And finally, Episode 20, Chaos Reigns. Thunderfang gathers the last of his power in the Spectral Lands, and only the ninja can stop him. Okay, so yeah, the big finale with Thunderfang makes a lot of sense there. I will say, no mention of the Forbidden Five at all, which kind of ties into my theory that the Forbidden Five might return as the main villains for Season 4. Kind of sounds like the main villains of Part 2 are going to be Thunderfang and this mysterious Lee character, or whatever that turns out to be. Maybe Lee is the realm itself, maybe the realm talks, maybe Lee just owns the realm. Who knows? But either way, kind of sounds like the realm of Lee will be addressed a lot in Season 3 Part 2. He's definitely a main character considering how many voice lines he has, but I'm sure over time, as we get closer and closer to the release of Season 3 Part 2, we will find out more about this mysterious Lee character and what exactly his deal is. But overall, that's going to pretty much do it for my thoughts here for today's video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, just a quick reassessment, if you will, of some of the news that we've been receiving for Season 3 Part 2 as of late. Again, now that Season 3 Part 1 is out and done with, we can focus on Season 3 Part 2 stuff, while also still talking about a lot of Part 1 stuff. I still have a ton of stuff from Season 3 Part 1 that I would like to talk about in upcoming videos, but for the time being, we just talked about some Season 3 Part 2 stuff. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave all of your thoughts, theories, speculation down below in the comments, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this one, feel free to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Peace.